Welcome back to the Travsessed podcast. We're your hosts, Kim and Aaron. We are healthcare travelers and the creators of Travsessed. And in this week's episode, we're going to talk to our completed full circle obsession with Denver, which is where we are moving very soon. I wish it was tomorrow.
Flight crew, please prepare for departure.
Welcome back to the show. We are Kim and Aaron in the flesh.
In the flesh?
On the mic, in
we're
your
together
ears.
in the flesh.
Very true.
But we're just in your ears. Our voices.
Whoa.
Our frequency, our energy.
Oh, I like that.
So, last week, we talked about, we were getting ready, preparing to go to Denver. Weren't really sure what to expect. Yada, yada, yada. Now we're home. We just got home Monday. And we're going to do a little recap-a-roo of our trip because it was freaking awesome.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was, we'll get into it.
Okay.
But
so let's start from the beginning. So we had to drive to Charlotte because it was a little bit of a bumpy ride, if you will, to get there.
Yeah.
So we flew out of Charlotte because it was so expensive to fly out of Charleston, which is just another reason we have to live near a place that has a big airport. Because it's just ridiculous. We had to drive 4 hours to fly out of the airport. And I thought, I've always heard people be like, yeah, I had to drive a few hours to get to the airport. And I'm always like, ugh, that sounds horrible. It's the last thing you want to do after a trip or even leading up is drive.
To be honest
4
with you,
hours, crazy.
The drive home was longer than the flight to Denver.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
So anyways, we had to drive to Charlotte and we stayed in a hotel right near the airport because we had an early morning flight.
The Hilton,
which is actually really nice. And they had a bomb-ass breakfast.
Yeah.
And that's me saying that. I don't even like breakfast food. And I was like, they did a good omelet, good fruit.
The buffet was amazing.
Yeah, just they did
Total
it right.
refills on orange juice.
Coffee, they had almond milk.
Oh yeah, they had it all.
Okay, so
anyway, we will be getting into a through line of again, the more and more we travel, the more and more we got into the whole points thing and status thing, and our jobs now require us to fly a lot. It has been the coolest perk ever. It just feels different. And you'll see a through line throughout this whole
oh my
episode.
God, Aaron gets his rocks off just thinking about his status. Literally. You're like, oh, it's because I'm an elite member. And I'm like, okay, just you?
Yeah.
Just you, MF?
Yeah.
No.
Because I'm
What about me?
You get to come along and reap the benefits, but I'm the one that is very diligent about putting in my number, making sure we get credit for every night we stay, for every flight we have.
Yeah.
Yada, 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 so on and so on. So you get the perks, but now that you've started doing it, you're going to reap the benefits as well, and we'll both be.
Yeah, I never used to put in my number or anything. But yeah, there's definitely huge payoff for being elite status.
Yeah.
So we go to Hilton. Oh, well, because we're Hilton Reward members, we got $30 to go towards our breakfast, which can I just say as a side note? Okay, I just want to say, we each got a buffet breakfast, okay, which had fruit. It had omelet, or you could get scrambled eggs. It had breakfast potatoes, bacon,
sausage,
yogurt. Yeah, it was
waffles, pancakes, French toast, grits.
Yeah, it was a decent buffet,
bagels,
right?
English muffins.
So we each got that, and then we got coffee and orange juice. And our bill was $61. And we were just when did it become $60 to have breakfast? We didn't even have anything crazy. I had an omelet, fruit, and a freaking English muffin and coffee, and that cost and bacon and $61. I don't know. It was, and we had our $30 credit, so technically we only had to spend $30. But it's still I just feel again, things are just so out of control expensive.
Which you served yourself.
Right, it was a buffet. Yeah, that was I just am blown away by the prices of everything.
But again, it all goes back to it's from a business point of view. they use the word inflation because yes, like there is the interest rates and stuff are high. So there's this ongoing thing of like prices are higher, but the thing is it's economy. People haven't stopped paying for this stuff. So as long as people are paying for it, people are going to increase prices.
Yeah,
right? Like
really
Spotify just sent me a thing that they're increasing their family membership $3 so that they can like improve the blah blah blah. I mean, it's like they just gradually increase you because people aren't canceling. So it's like, oh, cool. Like,
yeah.
So anyway,
it's just really crazy, like the prices of things. So anyways, we go to Hilton and spend the night because we had an early morning flight. So we wake up, we had our brekkie pot pie,
can
$60.
we back that up a little bit?
What?
So I'm leaving work because we basically decided we couldn't drop Mimi off at at Charlene's house, her Rover, until after 4:30. And so I worked on Tuesday, never sure of like, it was sounding off to be a busy day. Things canceled, patients didn't show up, thank goodness. So we were done at like 3. And so one of the docs that I work with, they switched days. So it's his day by himself on Wednesday. And he was like, you here with me tomorrow? We're going to get all this done, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nope, I'm leaving on a jet plane. And without skipping a beat, he was like, well, you're not here to help me out. I hope your flight gets canceled. And I was like, oh, dude, if it gets canceled, I'm going to haunt you like all day long. Like, ha, 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 whatever. And then...
Okay, what a douchey thing to say. I want to just like throw that out there. Like, who says stuff like that? Like, take your bad juju and move it over there because I ain't got no time for that.
Right.
He's just hating. So anyways, we get up. We have our brekkie pot pie. We come upstairs. We're like packing our stuff. We're getting ready to like catch the shuttle. Oh, and we were so excited. So basically, like, we flew into Denver on Wednesday. And we landed, because we had an early flight and because of the flight or the time change, we were landing at 10 a.m., which we were so excited about because we could explore the entire day. We had the sushi reservations that night, which we were so freaking excited about, which we'll get to in a second. But that, like, the sushi reservations were like life. Like,
I would have ran to Denver, like, on
they had
foot.
to happen.
Yeah.
So we had the whole day Wednesday, the whole day Thursday, and then our friends were coming in on Friday. So we had planned around that to have all of that time. So we were really excited to get in early. So we're going to head downstairs to the shuttle. We get a alert from United that said our flight was canceled because of mechanical issues. Just canceled.
And then they were like, you've been reserved on a flight that doesn't get in until 10:15. And I was like, oh, a.m.? I was like, that's not bad. They got us another plane. And I looked again, and it was p.m.
Yeah. And so we were like, fuck.
With like an 8-hour delay in like Dallas.
No, it wasn't 8 hours because we left, whatever, it doesn't matter. We would have left, we would have had to sit around Charlotte, which again, we're staying at some Hilton hotel near the airport. There's nothing to do, like, whatever. We would have had to wait. We didn't take off until 5 p.m. that night. And then went somewhere and had some sort of a layover and then didn't actually land in Denver until late that night. So, like, we missed a whole day. Obviously, the sushi we would have had to cancel. And we were just like, well, what do we do? Like, what are our options? So Aaron just got on real quick and there was a couple of empty seats on a Delta flight that was leaving basically 30 minutes after we were supposed to leave. So I was like, book it, dude.
So it was literally a short flight, hour flight into Detroit, and then got us in at 1 p.m. rather than 10.
Yeah.
So we still made our reservation, and to be honest with you, it kind of worked out better because we had a little bit of a layover in Detroit that we could grab lunch, and then that way we were fueled and ready to go, and we hit the ground in Denver, and then we were able to check right into our Airbnb instead of having to like drop our stuff off and wait and walk around and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it worked out. I will say it wasn't great because we had to pay $700 because we got our flights on United with points, so basically for free. So we were able to get our points back from United. They like reversed the points because we called and we're like, we're not taking that flight. We're going to book another one. So they gave us the points back, but we still had to pay out of our own pocket, which was like super annoying. But I was like, whatever. We're going to get to Denver. We're going to have a good freaking time.
And this is the first through line. So it's Now, mind you, it's 7 a.m. This flight's at 9. And there's like a couple seats left on this flight. So because I'm an elite Delta member, my gold status now, which is awesome.
I'm impressed. That's
I have my own line that I get to call. And so when I called, they're like, Mr. Gibson, how are you, sir? Like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like a person that I can understand on the phone. And I was like, hey, we want to book these tickets. I just want to make sure that like nobody in standby, like we get these tickets, everything's good. And there was also an issue with Kim's TSA pre-number didn't go in and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we don't have to get into every nitty gritty.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I called and they like, oh yeah, you're guaranteed on the flight. You're good. You have your seats. Like, everything is great. Thank you for flying with Delta. We'll see you at the gate. Blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, cool. Like, done. Like, in a matter of like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and they should have upgraded us to business since you're so alert.
They didn't have any seats available.
Oh, interesting. Or I wonder if they would have.
Yeah, first.
Okay. So we get to the airport, we check in, all the things, take off, and go to Detroit, have lunch, and then we have Detroit to Denver. So we're flying into Denver, okay?
Oh, yeah.
We're like, okay, here we go. We're getting ready to land. We're almost there. This is freaking awesome. You can see the freaking mountains. It was like amazing coming in. And it was like really turbulent, which Aaron was passed out. Like, it was funny because you were sleeping with your head like, dangling, so it's like super loose. And then your head was just like bouncing, but you were still sleeping. And I'm like, how does he sleep through this?
You were sitting in front of me. How are you noticing that?
I kept peeking behind you because I wanted to be
creepy.
Like, dude, are you okay? Like, I had one eye. I was like making sure you were okay.
Okay.
Plus, I was like a little nervous. So it was super turbulent, just really bumpy. And the flight attendant, so I was sitting in like an exit seat, but like where they have the jumper seat. So the flight attendant's like staring at you. You're like face to face. And so we're like coming down, super bumpy. And then we land and...
Oh, we didn't land.
Let me finish because you were sleeping. We land on the runway, we hit, and then we bounce up and slam down so hard, and that's when you woke up. And then it felt like we went off the runway a little bit.
Well, it was like we hit like a little bit of turbulence right before we hit the runway, and instead of gliding down, it just wha-boom!
So hard.
Slammed down. I thought the tires were blown out.
Yeah.
Like, even the flight attendant was like, holy crap.
The
but then we bounced back up and came back down.
So the flight attendant was in front of me, and she was like, holy shit, dude. Like,
Yeah.
she was like, that was really bad. Like, I flew like over into the guy sitting next to me. His headphones flew off. Like, it was a really hard landing. And she was just like, oh my God, like, that was crazy. And she was like, I was like, is it always like that coming in to Denver? And she said that it's always super turbulent coming into Denver and leaving Denver because of the mountains. It's just like at the Rockies, like it's always like that. So she's like, I'm from here. And you just expect it. You just know it's going to be like that. So that actually made me feel a little bit better. Because it's like, if you just know that, then you're just like, oh, whatever. It is what it is. Like, it's always bumpy. But she said that landing was not normal. Like, that wasn't normal. And it was really scary. Like, for a second, because we, like, slid. Like, it felt like we went off the runway. And I don't know for sure if we did or not, because, like, it was just hard to tell because it was, like, so quick. But I was, like, for a second, I was like, oh, my God. Like, this is it. I thought it was it.
I mean, it jarred me enough to wake me up,
People were screaming. So that was our crash landing into Denver. And then we went to our Airbnb.
Super nice.
Oh my God. So what was cool about this trip was that we got to really experience a lot of different parts of Denver. Mm-hmm. So I said this on our Instagram story that we always talk about how we want to move to Denver and stay for a year and see what we think, right? And we always say Denver, but in reality, we haven't spent any time in Denver, right? Like, we've been to Boulder, we've been to Durango, but like
Lafayette.
actually, yeah. but actually staying in Denver, we hadn't done before. So we weren't sure exactly what we were, like, what to expect. And so, I just completely forgot what I was going to say.
I can jump in.
Oh, sorry. Let me just say this one part, and then we weren't really sure what we were going to expect. But we only went to Denver one time, and this was 5 years ago?
Yeah, 5.
And we were...
6
years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like when we had first started, we first created Traveler School. We were speaking, like we were kind of like...
We're on the speaking circuit.
We were on the speaking circuit of, in the travel industry. But it was kind of like we were like really in the mix of things. We were on the TravCon committee. Like we were just like in it at that point. Like really like as travelers, advocating for travelers, teaching travelers. And so SIA is a conference that happens every year in Denver, or not in Denver, but it happens every year. And it's where like all the big wigs come.
The
CEOs of all the companies come together. And there's not really a lot of travelers there. It's not for travelers, it's for these companies. But we were invited to come to kind of represent for the traveler, and Aaron got to speak on a panel with other, like with the company people.
Yeah, it was 2 travelers and then the rest were recruiters. So it was like from the traveler point of view.
Which was so cool.
It was fun.
It was a really, really cool experience, just like sitting at the table with these people, hearing all about the industry from their perspective, what they were projecting. Just, I don't know, it like felt... I'd never experienced something like that before.
No, it was cool. It was cool to see, like, you see the trends and you see, like, how Allied is going to do, how nursing is going to do, what are the holes, what are, like, you're in all these conversations. So you're just like, holy crap, dude. I feel like I'm getting an insider information to, like, what's going on forecasting-wise, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So we were at the conference for 2 days, but it was downtown Denver. It was November. It was cold AF. And we didn't really explore anything. So I feel like that doesn't really count, right, as being in Denver, but that's our only experience with it. So, like, we just weren't really sure exactly what to expect and how we were going to feel. And the first neighborhood that we stayed in was Washington Park.
Platt Park.
Yeah, Platt Park. It borders Washington Park, but yeah. And... from the moment we got there, we were just like, this is like our dream neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, I can go?
Yes.
Oh,
that was a pause.
Oh, okay. That was that creepy
burped, sorry.
pause that you do before you have like another thought coming.
I just burped. Well, I did have more to say, but I was letting you go.
Oh, that's nice. It's convenient.
Excuse me.
I'm going to start saying this is the Travsessed podcast hosted by Kim with guest appearance.
You and I literally talk the same
from Aaron.
amount.
He's the hype man.
Oh my God. Do you really feel like that?
There's runs.
I feel like sometimes you have runs.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay. You also have to remember I edit this podcast, so I hear.
You don't listen back to it. You literally.
I skim it, and I also
throw on an intro and call it a day.
I also know who's speaking due to inflection points, and so I can see. Oh man, look how long this one is.
Okay, Bobby.
It's Kim's monologue.
What would you like to say?
I just thought of this just now, and I think it's really interesting, especially being that majority of our audience is healthcare travelers, right? And I think you and I, like when we set out from Jacksonville to start traveling, there was 2 main things. Number 1 was to create our own business somehow. Number 2, it was to find where we wanted to live because we knew Florida wasn't it. So like, hopefully this blows your mind as much as it's blowing mine right now that I'm actually having this realization. But like, we always said like, we've always believed that our journey in life is guided by a higher power, right? Like period, end of story. Like you can't not explain that, right? So we always talked back about our journey and like how the places we ended up, right, were like bigger than us because it was like Atlanta, easy jump right out of travel to like Atlanta, 8 hours from home. Your sister and them drove up for a weekend. Like my mom came up and there was like this whole thing. So it was an ease out of like full time to travel, but it was kind of in a city, not a big city. We were outside.
Atlanta's a pretty big city.
Atlanta's a huge city, but it's like spread out. It's not your typical like walkable kind of place. You're still driving everywhere. Right. So it had a city feel, which we fell in love with, and we walked everywhere we could, right? And like loved it. Super cool. But Atlanta wasn't like the spot. We were like, I don't know if I'd live here. Anyway.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Well, maybe I'll circle back and but I wanted to talk about something about Atlanta with the neighborhoods.
Perfect.
Because I feel like
circle back because it's coming.
I have to tinkle.
No, you don't. No. So hold it, literally. Maybe if you hold your hands there, it'll keep you from picking your nose and twirling your boogers while I'm speaking.
I did it one time.
No, you weren't. I was watching you the whole time.
I have a runny nose.
Runny nose versus boogers that you're circling in your fingers.
I'm congested.
Anyway, so then we went to Janesville, Wisconsin in the dead of winter, right? And it was either that or Fairbanks, Alaska. And so we went to Janesville because it was easy again, and it was a great contract.
Are you going to go through literally every place we've ever been?
No, but I was going to skim it. But it was these two were the main points. But it was like a full winter, like crazy, and there was nothing to do in Janesville. So we're like, like not for us. But like so on and so on. San Diego, Washington, like Seattle, like all these places that we've been like, oh, this is cool, and we've taken little pieces from them for the first time ever. And just the long weekend that we spent the 5 days there, I was like, all of these things we've talked about literally were target Denver.
100%.
And now you can say your thing about Atlanta because that's what I was going to say, why it was cool.
Okay. One thing I loved so much about Atlanta and what we would always talk about is that there are so many cute neighborhoods inside the city, right? Where you are in the city, you could walk to dinner, you could take a quick Uber to dinner, you could walk to a park, cafe, whatever. But it felt neighborhoody. It was like real houses. It was, because you think of a city, you think apartments, condos, like stacked up on each other in these buildings, where it had this neighborhood feel with homes and trees and streets. And I loved that part of Atlanta. I'm like, how cool to have the luxuries of having a home and having a yard and having a porch and having some space, but you're in a city. And that was always kind of like what I pictured of what I would want, because I love being in a city and I love having the close proximity to things and being able just to walk. But I know I don't want to live in an apartment. I want to have an outdoor a porch, a yard. I want a home, right? I don't want to be like have neighbors on top of me and underneath me. So that was something that stood out in Atlanta that I was like, I didn't even know this existed, you know? And so circling back to the neighborhood we stayed in, Platt Park, Washington Park, it was that. It was like you felt like you were in the suburbs. It was tree-lined streets, beautiful homes, quiet neighborhood. You could walk. Like, it was so beautiful and peaceful, and it felt very neighborhoody to me. But you were in the city. You could walk. Like, we walked to dinner. We walked to get coffee the next morning. Like, you could walk to...
We were a 5 to 7 minute Uber ride from downtown Denver.
Yeah, so we were like outside downtown, but you were still... Like, we could have walked to the light tram station or whatever, and then that's like a quick ride to like downtown.
Yeah.
And so I loved that aspect of like, wow, you could essentially have a house but still be in the city.
And I can tell you just from our experience, I would probably never take the light rail, knowing that literally within 4 minutes, an Uber was in front of our place wherever we were. Mm-hmm. Like, there were so many of them. It's not like you're waiting 15, 20 minutes for an Uber.
Ubers were expensive.
Yeah, they were.
They were super expensive.
But I mean, it's like if you're zipping in for dinner and stuff, like, I'll pay the cost. Like, how much is it? How much is a DUI?
No, I'm talking about the light rail, bro.
I mean, the light rail, how long does that take?
Anyways,
like,
we don't know, but I'm sure it's a great option if you want to go downtown, if you want to go down for a game or just, right? Just having that as an option. Like, I love public transportation. It's super simple. And so, obviously, a neighborhood inside of a city are always going to be, like, the most expensive areas, which, of course, that's what we love.
And on top of the ones, those were the two most expensive out of all of them.
I know. But it was, so we fell in love with the neighborhood, and then that night we walked, which again, freaking love walking places.
Me too.
Like, that's what I love about a city, is that you can just, walking is an activity for the day. Like, we walked for hours.
5 miles.
Went to a park and grabbed a juice and grabbed a coffee, had a little lunch, kept walking. Like, I love that as an activity. and in cities, there's always new places to go and explore, you know? Anyways, we walked to Sushi Den. Shout out the SD, baby.
I mean, if there's so much to this, but it's like, if you love sushi, that's the spot. I mean, that's top 3 sushi restaurants I've ever been to.
It was number 1 for me. I can't think of one other one better than that I've had.
Ocean Fish or whatever.
What the hell is Ocean Fish?
Or what was it called? The one in Palm Springs.
Oh, no. Whiskey Fish? Yeah, that was good, but it was not as good as this one.
That's true. Sushi Den was way better.
Yeah.
But I will say, too, again, just like everything in this world, right? Like, if we would have went there and just sat there and just kind of like done our thing on our own, it wouldn't have been as like exciting. We just had the most amazing waitress, and she was from Japan and lived in Denver, and just so knowledgeable, and you could tell there was like a passion there.
Yeah.
And she just explained everything. Now, granted, she was probably the best salesman in the world.
Oh my God.
And she knew she had 2 suckers like sitting there. Like, we just don't refuse any recommendations, and I have to try it.
No, she would literally be like, I recommend this, and we're like, we'll take it. Yeah. And then we put in all this stuff that we ordered, and then she like came back, she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I didn't recommend this, but I think you guys would love it. Or like, take it.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't even hear what she said.
Everything.
I was like, if she circles back to the table to tell us we have to try this before we leave, done.
No, and she's like, suckers, like, but everything she recommended was fire.
Yeah.
Fire. And it ain't cheap, okay?
No.
Ain't cheap. She also, like, I don't love sake. I enjoy it as an experience, but it's not something I'm like, I love it so much. She recommended this, what did she kept calling it? Sophisticated.
Yeah.
Sophisticated.
Because of the way the brewers do it. It's
super, yeah. And oh my God. It wasn't just like, oh, it's sake. It was, I enjoyed it so much. It tasted like melon. Just, I don't know, melon, just cleanness. There was
smooth.
No bite. Yeah. Oh my God. It was like amazing. That was honestly one of the best meals. That when we left, like I cried. I was like, I want to can we leave and come back?
Yeah.
Because that was the best like sushi dinner
experience
we've had.
Yeah.
Especially coming from West Virginia, where we have like, we don't really eat great food anyways.
Well,
that was just like,
and in all of our travels, I mean, minus coming from Japan, like going to Japan itself, I think that's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Which they say like they flew in their fish from Japan every day, which is like cool, man. Like,
I mean, it's cool, but it's interesting.
Yeah. We talked about that. We're like, what makes like the fish from Japan so freaking special?
Yeah.
Is it all the fish? Because they're in the Pacific Ocean, so you're like, is that just a great place where all these fish are? Or does it have to do with something about the Japanese technique or like their quality or blah, blah, blah? But like, because you always hear like salmon or whatever you can get from freaking California or
Seattle, yeah.
But like from Japan is so special, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was freaking good. If you're
I
in
can
Denver, go to Sushi Den.
I can tell you one thing. It wasn't the salmon that was the showstopper, though.
That king salmon, I would put it on my freaking...
What?
My privates, and I would just go ham on it.
Okay. I mean, that hamachi belly that they feed them oranges.
Yeah. Okay,
like,
so...
Oh, my God.
It was amazing. Amazing meal. And then... we just like chilled. We just explored. We walked around, like, and then our friends came on Friday, and that was so cool because we got to experience it just by ourselves, like do our thing. And then our friends Adam and Aaron have lived in Denver, so it was really cool to have their perspective. Which basically, they just planned the whole trip from Friday to Sunday.
You did a phenomenal job too.
Freaking crushed it. And literally Aaron and I just showed up, which never happens. Like, we plan everything. I mean, that's the nature of what we do. Like with Travsessed Adventures, we literally plan every single detail. We put so much thought into everything. This trip, We just showed up. And they planned it all because they really wanted to show us around, and they're so familiar with this city. And it was so fun just to be like, so, like, what are we doing? Where are we going? And together, but like, I know Adam, like, really kind of like with the restaurants and stuff, like, dude, just freaking crushed it. Made us fall in love even more, because I think that even with the little towns and stuff that we went to outside of Denver, I don't think we would have gone on our own or known about it on our own.
I never, and the fact is we got really familiar with Sloan's Lake. Sloan's Lake, I don't know, plural, non-plural.
I think it's Sloan's.
I mean, on the sign in the park, it said Sloan's S.
Yeah, I think it's Sloan's.
I agree. Which I'm going to go with because the sign said Sloan's.
Yeah, Sloan's.
I don't want to pull another Pike's Place. And God forbid everybody loses their mind because it's not plural.
Yeah,
like,
so...
whatever. So anyway, Sloan's.
Don't come for us.
Like, yeah. I would have never gone there. And the fact is like...
Turn the air down.
We drove like 10 minutes to Sloan's Lake from where we were, which was like Cherry Creek, which... again, another neighborhood that we never knew about. That was like, holy crap, but like didn't really have a lot of...
Wasn't a fan
of that. Washington Park, Platt Park, and then Sloan's Lake, which Sloan's Lake is cheaper in retrospect to Washington Park. But we were closer to the city. We were right next, like really quick to the stadium, really quick to the baseball field, really quick to that art district area we went. Rhino.
Love
like
that place.
Holy crap, dude. I was like, Sloan's Lake is my new favorite because it had like the big lake you could walk around, great restaurants, cool things to do, and it was cheaper.
Yeah.
In retrospect. Like, I with, understanding of what cheaper is.
Well, and it's on the side of the city, too, where it's easier to get to the mountains.
Yep.
Because that's what I love about Denver, too, is that it's not just an amazing city. Okay, at least the parts that we saw and what we did there. But it's also so close to the mountains so it's two hours to Rocky Mountain National Park. So that's a bit of a haul, right? You could do it, but it's a haul for a day trip. But there's also other hiking and other like stuff that you can do that's like an hour outside, 45 minutes outside.
30 to 45 minutes outside of Red Rocks. Like, we were right next to Red Rock Amphitheater, like not that bad of a drive.
Right.
Like 25 minutes we were in Golden. Like that town was awesome.
So
what was the other
cute.
town we went to with the
the Christmas town? I love that town.
With Squatch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We literally almost came home with a Newfoundland.
I mean, the Newfoundland would have came home with us. Like, we'd have been riding her.
She was the most precious angel. She was a rescue. And just her eyes were so... I just think about her. I can still have a picture of her on my phone. Just look at it. And I swear if we would have lived in California or Colorado, I would have brought her home.
Yeah.
I think the last thing we need is a giant Newfoundland.
Yeah.
They're massive. Although, she was like a horse.
Mimi the Squatch could have taken Mimi out.
Put a saddle on her and just rode her.
Like, can you take Mimi out, please?
Yeah. I don't know if I could handle the slobbers and all the things, but...
The massive amounts of hair.
She was precious.
She was.
We found her. We basically kind of like hopped around all these little mountain towns. And that one happened to have a festival going on, and there was a dog rescue there. And it was just like all these cute little towns that have their own little strip, their own restaurants, their own breweries, their own paths, their own rivers. Like there was Golden, which was 25 minutes outside, was this cute little town, and then it had a river that went through it that you could just jump on and tube down, like rapids, like just like cool stuff like that, which I love so much.
Not only that, it was like 25 minutes. You could throw your raft in, you could bring a cooler, you could sit out by the park, and then like go raft down, get out, go hang out, have lunch, like, and then be back home for the afternoon, right? Like if you wanted to, when the storms come in, you could take a nap, like hang out. It sounds like a perfect day, right? But it also, like for me, was exactly what you and I talk about all the time about, like we've put a solid day's work in, and we just kind of want to have a fun ambiance.
Sorry.
A fun ambiance of like a date night dinner with like good food, good views, good vibes, good cocktails. And it was like we dropped into that L5, and I was like, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like tapas, good food, good drinks, like the view of the city all lit up. Like we had that. We had the night we went to camp.
Happy Camper.
Happy
yeah, that
Camper.
was super cool.
Literally was going to a market, like a food market, which they have a bunch
Food
of
hall.
those, food hall, like, and we saw it across the street, and we asked our Uber driver, we're like, what's that? And he was like, I have no idea. And we saw the sign, it was Happy Camper. It was on Kim's list of like places to go. And we almost went there the night before, but it was just like a cool vibe outside patio with misters and like, I mean, the pizza was phenomenal, by the way. And like, it was just a cool, chill vibe. And it was like, to be around all of that and to almost be like, God, I don't even know where we would go. We come from like, we don't have anywhere to go to where would we go? Because there's so much to explore and check out. And it's like right there in your fingertips.
Well, and yeah, I think for us and like what's important to us and what we love, you know, because it's like, I don't know if we've talked about this before, maybe we have, but where people, I think we did actually just talk about this last week, but how people are like, oh, it's so expensive and this and that. And about certain places, right? Whatever that place is. And Colorado has that rap, especially Denver, Boulder, for being super expensive. But for me, I want to live where I want to live. And Colorado is a lifestyle state, and I'm willing to pay more to live there because it's feeding my soul, and maybe have a smaller place or whatever. Because it checks all the boxes for what we love, and it has the food, it has like the cool stuff going on, right? Like we are city people, we like things going on, like we love the mountains so much and nature and being outside and hiking and camping and all that, but like but I need to be able to like go have a nice dinner and like always have things going on. Like we really do like both. Bless
Excuse
you.
me.
That was scary. And so it was almost like Denver is this perfect little hodgepodge that really does give you both. Mm-hmm. It gives you that fun city life. It gives you the beautiful nature and the mountains and the hiking and all of that and the beautiful weather. And so I don't know. I think we loved it so much going there, but then just going there actually made us fall in love with it even more, where now I feel like we actually can visualize it and feel it and like feel the energy of the place that we want to be.
And
where before
see
we
the
couldn't.
houses and see like what it is. And I'm just a firm believer in life in general. And I don't know if that's just Kim and I's wiring or like the entrepreneur in us, but like I've just always firmly believed that if you want something, you go after it, right? Like there's no one stopping you. You're the only one stopping you. So Denver checked all the boxes. And to be honest with you, it's expensive. Well, great, because one, a lot of people would want to live there, but what keeps them out is price amongst other things, right? And like, I just would never, ever let that set me back for a place that I want to live or something I want to do or a restaurant I want to go to. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather put in the work knowing that I achieved that goal because it was something that was very important to me. And thank God you and I feel the same way.
Yeah.
That would
100%.
be crazy if I was just like, so I want to move to Denver, and you're like, it's too expensive. And I'm like, well, okay, like let's figure that out, right? Like you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like that would be horrible.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So,
it wouldn't be compatible.
I just love that mentality, and it's also it's expensive. I mean, the houses, of course, like
Okay,
all
hold
the
on.
houses that Kim and I want that we've been looking at, like when we filter down like what are non-negotiables and things like that, they're like $1.3 million.
We found our dream home.
Yeah.
She's a beaut. She's a little bungalow in Washington Park. I'm absolutely obsessed. I have her on my phone. I'm as a screensaver. I'm going to manifest this house. But what would you say is like on your house bucket list of like things that are non-negotiables for you?
Big windows, like light coming in everywhere.
Yeah.
A big kitchen. that we could have people gathering around, or you and I have room to move, and I need big space for a refrigerator because I can't stand these little ass apartment refrigerators.
God.
I need, in my opinion, the bedrooms aren't that. I like a modern look inside. I like open. I'm not a closed off kind of person.
I'm saying non-negotiables.
Yeah. I'm going to probably say no to a house that's completely closed off. Like, I like that big open vibe. Like, I want a fireplace. But my main thing is like my backyard. Like, I need a space, whether it be a rooftop or whether it be a backyard, that is majority private. Like, I have some space, but I also need a big enough space to build like the backyard I want. I would also like, I mean, I have to say that'd be my non-negotiables. There's also little bonuses of things, but
my non-negotiables are fireplace, front porch, backyard, some sort of yard. Doesn't have to be freaking massive, but somewhere you and I can sit outside with a fire pit and grill and have friends over and just like have an outdoor space. Like, after living in apartments for 13 years, traveling, like, I need some sort of outdoor space. Like, I miss that so much, just sitting outside, having a coffee, whatever. And then a nice kitchen. That's really it for me.
I want like a big modern like bathroom for us.
Yeah.
Like separate shower, nice tub, good lighting.
Well, our dream bungalow
her
has
sinks.
a beautiful modern bathroom. She's only 1.2 mil.
I know.
And again, this is like our dream home. You know, like, this is like a home that's like, it's not some like crappy rundown little house. Of course, you can find houses for cheaper than that, but this was like, if we could have anything, this was the house that we really loved in the location that we really loved, right? So it's like a double whammy. So, yeah, and also too, I just think with the community aspect, like going on this trip, like I feel like I left with my heart so full. Like being able to spend that weekend with Adam and Aaron, they showed us around. Joe and Sarah, who we absolutely love, and they're going to move there too. So Adam and Aaron want to move there next year. We're moving there hopefully next year. And that's our plan. We'll see. And then Joe and Sarah want to move there in a couple of years. And so just to like have community of people that you love, that you just like deeply care about, that like you live in the same place, that you're like, hey, it was like a joke because we were all like, okay, Wednesday nights is going to be like, we're going to go to Sushi Den, and then we're going to go and like listen to music. And then
Sunday was like rafting and park day.
Yeah, I was
like throw the football, play can jam, like barbecue.
Yeah, like every day was like something. We also had a lot going on Wednesday. We're like, we'll literally just have to call off work, and like we're just hanging out like every single Wednesday.
Who's calling off work?
Adam and Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Or like us too. Like just no work that day, blowing off everything and just like hanging out.
Fuji day.
So that it was like fun, but I so look forward to that, of being like, let's like have a game night and have people over, like go over to their house and have dinner. And it was just such a great trip. Like when you just have friends like that are just easy, and like you enjoy the same things. Like they love hiking, they love the outdoors, they love camping. Like Adam and Aaron are teaching us all about car camping. So I feel like we're going to be really rustic and cool with them, you know? Well, like they're our like cool outdoor friends.
We were talking about car camping, but we're also like, our house has to come with a van. So then we can like tag team the van. Yeah. Like they have their van, we have our van, and we just go.
Yeah.
Then we could like cook cool stuff, have our own like space.
Yeah. But it was just really cool. And then we got to meet Joe and Sarah's son,
Luca,
who this was our first time meeting him in real life. And honestly, I was just like, okay, cool. Like they're the only ones with a baby, and you just aren't really sure like how is it gonna go. Like babies obviously require a totally different schedule and stuff than like just adults like going in to hang out. So we're like, we didn't know how it was gonna go, and I was like so impressed with this baby. Again. Like he was literally the coolest, most chill, go with the flow, flexible baby. I mean, he had he obviously has a schedule at home, but they were so adaptable. Like we were going to dinner at 8:30 at night, right? He goes to bed at 7, like, and he would just sit in his little pouch on Sarah, and he would sleep, or he would just look around, like,
sit on Joe. I ate.
yeah, I've just never seen such an adaptable, happy baby. And they were super flexible and adaptable too. And they're so chill. And I think that's why he's just chill. And I was just like, wow, like they made it look so seamless and so easy. I know it's not, but I just think like their partnership and just the system they have down, like whatever they're doing is working, because that kid was a dream.
No, I mean, he sat with, like, half the time you don't even know he's there. Like, he just was just sitting there minding his own business, like, didn't always have to have a toy or didn't always have to
be entertained.
Did his own thing, was happy, smiling, giggling.
Yeah.
Like, just sitting at the table. Like, we were able to have our own conversations and, you know, eat as much as we wanted. And then they even, like, came out with us after. We were like, you guys can, you know, go back to whatever. Like, they were going to go to, like, an adult, like, game place. Like, but it
ended up being too loud.
It was too loud, and they even said, like, the kid can't come downstairs. It's dangerous with, like, you know, bean bags and things flying around and stuff like that. But, like, he just was on Sarah sleeping. Like, just so chill.
I think too that, because they even said this, but I think he's 9 months. He was born end of September.
September, yeah.
So however many months that is. But from day one, they just kind of incorporated him into their life. And like, he's already traveled internationally, and he's been, I think they said that was his 21st plane ride. And they do stuff with him all the time. And so I think it's like, that's the key of like, you just started early and then your kid becomes adaptable, because I believe in schedules and like all of that. I think it's important to like, kids need structure and schedule, but like obviously he does in his normal life, but he also can just adapt and be free if they're out and on the go and on the move, where like, I feel like some parents are like, no, my kid has to be down at this time, and it's like, it's almost so stressful. And I just like, really want to be like that kind of a parent where you just see like, it's so like what's that word?
Fluid.
Yeah, it's fluid. It's just like easy and flexible. And I feel like that is the key, is that you have to just get him in there and start young. And like, who knows how it will be when he's a little older, but I was really
Well, he'll be on
impressed.
like 38 flights by the end of the year.
I know. Like they're doing he's been to Costa Rica, he's been to Canada, they're about to go do this European summer trip. Like, I just think that's so cool. And it made me realize even more of like, we're going to be parents, like just inspiration of like how I would want to be, but B, just like, you can travel with your kid. You can go out to a dinner with your kid. You can do stuff it's not just like you have to stay home and do nothing. Granted, it's a lot more work, because they had to like make sure they packed up everything, and they had to like, okay, do we have this? Do we have this? Like, obviously it's more work and thought, but you can still do it.
No, it's completely doable. And it's been actually a real pleasure to see our healthcare traveler friends having kids.
I know.
And then seeing them out in the world in other places, not going to their house and seeing them in their element, seeing them outside of their element.
Yeah.
And like, these are young babies and toddlers, and they're all just like mind-blowing on how good they are, how cultured they are, how chill they are.
I feel like they're the best kids I've ever met.
100%. And that's just, so periodically, right? Like, we've just seen this, and we are very keen on observing like how this stuff works, right? Because I want to learn. Like, I want to see it. So I watch. I sit back and I watch. I watch like how the kid interacts, how they interact, how they cope with moving around all the time, and are they go with the flow with us? And like, I mean, to hang out with two single, like, no kid friends, not single, but like,
couples who don't have kids.
Correct. Yeah. And I'm 41, you're 38, Aaron and Adam are mid 30s. Like, we're not young bucks, right? Like, so we're kind of, you know, it's like, let's go, man. Let's explore. Let's have fun. We're active. We like to get out and go places and different bars and restaurants. And they just, I mean, it was insane. It was cool to watch. It was inspiring to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, it does exist.
It does exist.
Right?
They do exist.
They do exist.
Yeah, dude. I just feel like wrapping it up, it's a great trip. Like, I feel 100%. And again, we're always open to if something else pops up and maybe we pivot and move a different direction. But at this point, I just feel like
Hell no.
I'm just saying you just never know what life brings to you. So I'm always open. But in this moment, that is like what feels so right is like next year, moving to Denver, signing a year lease and getting a full year, going through the winter, going all of it, the fall, the spring, the summer, really seeing how we feel about it, exploring it even more, and really deciding like, okay, do we want to settle down here? Do we want to buy a house here? Like, what do we want to do? But I feel like that is the next step.
I mean, I could just, like I said at the beginning, you know, like our whole 13-year journey has literally, every time we've been somewhere, we're like, yeah, we like this, but, yeah, we like this, but, yeah, we like this, but. That place had 0 buts.
Yeah.
It was everything that we wanted, that we've been looking for. And it fits for us, right? Not for everybody, for us. And like, it just worked. And it also gave me some drive and motivation to work harder and like live up to that dream, because I know that we can achieve it. And like, I'm just ready to go after it. And it'll appear in the way that it's supposed to appear to us. So maybe it's not the $1.2 million dream home, but it's a beautiful dream home, just like that one in Sloan's Lake, which is a little cheaper, right? Like, that's why I think we want to like live there for a year to really figure that out. But it's like, I'm kind of zoning in on this Sloan's Lake area because of like, but it's cool. I'm just interested to see how this all plays out.
100%.
I will, just real quick though, you did say on the last podcast to check our story if you were hungover.
Oh, dude. So, okay, I wasn't able to get that thing. I wasn't gonna be there on time, so I didn't get it. Okay. So whatever day it was, Thursday, we go to the Happy Camper, and I was like, I'm not really gonna drink because our friends are coming the next day. I don't want to feel like crap. We got like, we're hitting the ground running, and so I'm not gonna really drink. Whatever. So I wanted to feel good the next day. We're gonna go have dinner. We're gonna go home. And we get there. It was such a cool vibe. And so I was like, I'll have one espresso martini, right? And it was just like one of those nights where it's like the drinks are flowing, the conversation's flowing, the vibes are flowing, and you're just kind of like in it. And you and I just got into like a flow. Like we were just like talking and things are going here and there. And it's like, before you know it, I don't know, 6 freaking martinis later. Well,
and our waiter was cool.
God.
So he just shows up with tequila shots, and he's like, we're like, oh, what are these? And he's like, oh, they're for you. And we're like, he was like, you guys are cool, man. I really enjoyed serving you guys. So here. And you can keep the shot glasses. And so Kim's like, only one shot. And I'm like, because we order shots, like never.
Right, like I don't even do shots.
But then then I go to the bathroom and Kim ordered me a beer, so like a local beer, which then I needed another. I mean, it just.
Things spiraled.
A little bit.
But it was such a fun night. So we go back to the room or Airbnb, go to sleep, whatever. The next day, I'm so hungover. And I was pissed. Because I'm like, this is what I didn't freaking want to happen. Because I want to I don't want to feel like shit. I want to go have fun with our friends. And so I was so upset. But also I was like, but I had so much fun the night before. But I was like, okay, this is like, luckily, I feel bad. But like, Adam, they picked up a van. We were like,
Jesus Christ,
cool van people. Because we needed a room for like the baby and whatever, all the stuff, all of us. And so so originally they were going to land and then like come pick us up, and we were going to have breakfast, and then we were going to have to go back to the airport and pick up Joe and Sarah. And there was like an issue with the van, and so they were just going to have to sit and wait at the airport for Joe and Sarah. So they didn't even get to us until 1. So it worked out really well in my favor, because I was like, okay, basically I need to get a Diet Pepsi, and then I need to go, there's this place called the Green Collective that was like, oh.
Now, mind you, we had breakfast at the hotel.
Yeah, but I needed more. Like, it was just like the breakfast was absolute slop. I don't even remember what I had, but it was like nothing. So I realized, okay, like it's kicking in. Like I'm hungover. And then, so we went to the Green Collective, which is this amazing restaurant, or it's not, it's like a little shop, and it has like smoothies and salads and really great like avocado toast and juices. And then there's a Pilates studio in the back. I'm like, these are my kind of places. These are my people. But anyways, we go there, I get a juice, I get whatever stuff. And then I knew, okay, we need to get back. If I can pop to Excedrin and lay for 20 minutes, now that my belly's full, I'll wake up and feel okay. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, I woke up. They arrived 15 minutes later, I think, and I felt 100% better.
Yeah,
Thank
that was nice.
God.
And then we went to the market and had more food.
Okay, some of us you had a fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
I didn't eat. I had one tiny empanada.
Game on after that.
You were out of control on this trip.
2 breakfasts, fried chicken sandwich, fries. Then I found a nice local IPA.
You go big or go home, dude.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
all in or all out. Like you were like a Pac-Man, just going through the city with your mouth open, just like rah, 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 and then you'd stop and like chug beer, and then like rah, rah. Like I've never seen anything like it before.
Well, I mean, I was up till 3:30 in the morning that morning.
No, 4 a.m.
3:30, I came to bed.
No,
3:30.
3:47.
I looked at Adam and I said, "Yo, it's 3:37," and he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, when's the last time you stayed up till like that's insane? Yeah, y'all were just on one, man, just hanging out, having a good time, and then we had to wake up the next morning because that was the day we were supposed to go for a hike, but nobody wanted to get up early. That wasn't really the reason. We were gonna get an earlier start. We did. You guys slept in a little bit.
I was up at 7:30.
You were not up at 7:30. I was up at 7:30.
Yeah, you were in the shower.
You guys got up at like 9, and then we were like, okay, we'll go have a quick breakfast, and then we'll head out because the Rocky Mountains were like 2 hours away, or where we were gonna go was like an hour and a half away. But then we went to this breakfast place and had to wait for like 2 hours.
Yeah, party of 8.
We didn't end up going. We went somewhere else and just walked around some towns and stuff, which was perfect. Which was absolutely perfect.
Because then we had to be back for our amazing. Oh my god! Again, like holy crap, dude! Like
Hops Valley. Oh yeah, I kept saying Hops Valley.
Dude, Hops Alley. Like
I gotta pee again.
For the name of the place, like that was not what was expected.
No,
that was some of the best food.
That was amazing that we are a group, the 6 of us are a group that can eat. Yeah. We are foodies. We love food. We just ate and ate and ate and ate. And like I feel like I got all of my fixes in, except the one thing I didn't get that I really wanted to was ramen. Other than that, I just feel like we ate our little hearts out. We explored, we talked. Like it was just such a good trip.
It was amazing.
And then
to where I'm having a harder time coming home.
No, I was like legit like, let's cancel all the trips.
Yeah.
And let's just head to Colorado.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to cancel the trips, but I do want to go to Colorado.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go right now. And then we picked up Mimi and I told her about our new home and she was so excited.
She was very excited.
The one thing I was surprised about, and then we'll end it at this because I'm about to pee my pants, is that I didn't realize how hot Denver got in the summer.
We were at the hottest it's been in a long time.
It was like 90 something degrees. But what I love about it is that it's a dry heat. So different than Florida where it's so humid, it's so hot, you can't even go outside. Where we were walking around and it was hot, but it was fine. And you could go into the shade and like be cool. So, and then you go up a little bit and you're in the mountains and it's not hot at all. So it's like, I didn't realize that it did get that hot. And then at night it was cool.
Cools off.
I love.
60s, 70s, like gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like jacket because it's like that dry.
Yeah. Denver is literally the most perfect place in the world. And
really
we're moving there next year. Thank you. Bye.
All right. We're out.
All right. We'll see you guys next week live from Denver.
Yeah. I wish.